Afternoon, folks. Really doesn't matter what day it is. It's a day for your Imaginarium. And your Imaginarium is yours to have. And everybody sees different things. I love looking at Google Earth, right? And I love looking at the lines under the water. And since I got a different computer, I have to remap the world again. So I started with some underwater lines because I think they're fascinating me. I find that a lot of lines there, well, I don't find them, I see them. A lot of these underwater lines meet in Tahiti. And I pointed this out a few times to people. And I often wondered, how does this occur? And one clear way is that the mapping itself shows a clearness, right, in a path. Because, my Imaginarium does have limits of sanity involved in it, okay? I can go as full retard as anybody out there. But when I notice an X, I go, these type things are geometric, right? And then not to me natural. So I see these clearer grids as something that's been more properly mapped. But anybody who knows me knows that I don't trust the government. I don't trust that everything we've been told is the truth. And that history is always written by the victor, is a fact. And I see geometric things under the ocean in these lines that have been mapped. So my Imaginarium in here is seeing, I don't think that's a volcano. I don't know too many square ones. I don't think that's a volcano either. This is an anomaly in one of these ocean lines. And I might even just drop a pin here. I'm not going to label anything. Otherwise, I would just be going, Right? This is just so I can go back later on and see if I see a pattern to the pins that I'm dropping even. Right? As I look along these lines. And I love to do that. So hello, everybody. Welcome to Rob D's Imaginarium. If I call it my Imaginarium, I don't catch too much heat. But I like to see the true history of the world, and I love to look at my planet. And this is off the coast of Tahiti, right? Where the nexus of a lot of these lines are, or where mapping missions occurred. You can't tell me all that lava just went all on out in a stream like that. So something had to come along and map this way, more clearly than they mapped here. I'm going to point that out. So we look in the clearer areas, we get a more defined image. But at the end of the day, that's very blurry. It's not well defined. So we'll call it our Imaginarium. But some things are going to become very perplexing. Like if I go along the lines that I've already marked things, right? I'm going to zoom out. I've been following this line here. Came off the Fiji Mount. Because I started up in Fiji area, actually. I was looking at the Chromatic Trench to see if there was any potentials for any landslides that would cause landslides under the ocean into some of these deep canyony areas. So I noticed this one here. This one I called the Pacific Crust because it looked like a cross to me. But this anomaly here is very geometric with lots of dots on it. So it made me go, what's going on here? Right, and I do see this anomaly on a few features, actually, along this one particular line. And it makes me wonder, were the civilizations here before water filled everything up? Is a rising ocean thing just a normal thing that will happen on this planet? If there was civilizations under the oceans here that are now flooded out, at what point wasn't that a geometric shape? Right, that looks like a building plan. That doesn't look like a random volcano went here, 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 and here. So my Imaginarium sees civilizations underneath the ocean. And I don't think I'm the only one out there that does. I'll go north with this line then. At the nexus of these lines, I find curiosities. Which one was this one? This thing looked cool. Look at that. It's the Q symbol, man. It's happening. I don't know. Well, that's just isn't that an oddness, right? And those would look like what I would think a cinder cone would look like. But gee, that's awful triangular, that shadow there. So I was going, that's an anomaly. But you know, like I said, this grid patterns can be what boats do to get mapping done. But I think with all these Google Maps that can read your newspaper from space and all these satellite things, I think they can do a better job with mapping than this. And I believe some stuff is being hidden from us. Do you believe stuff's being hidden from you? Do you have to use your Imaginairium to say, gee, that's a very weird looking? Not like any cliff I ever see. Unless it was an overlook that was carved as like a strategic position. Yeah. I'm just wandering along one of these lines now. Let's see what we see. Are you seeing cool stuff too? I can't really see your comments. What I'm going to do is pull my phone up. Maybe I can see some comments that way. We will try. Hey, look, I'm live. Oh, that's me. I'll mute myself so now I can see maybe some comments from you guys. So yeah, I do love to have a look around, and this morning is no different than any other. Imagination. I got lots of little things mapping. Not odd. Is that a radiation symbol? Are all these cinder cones like shaped like a hexagons and all sorts here? You know what's going on? I think you've got underwater cities. Could be the mer people that has always been in legend. If they showed up and get pissed off about all the plastics in the ocean, I think we'd have hell to pay. We dang sure wouldn't be going for a swim anytime soon in their waters if they decided different. If my Imaginairium was real. How many coincidences does it take to establish a fact in life, I wonder some days. That's pretty cool looking. That's odd in the middle of nothing. Imagine they fish over the top of that. Something plowed along here. Yeah, I wonder about these things. If all this can't be just cables laying, because that's awful wide. But like I said, if they take a swath and that's all you're taking a picture of, it's going to look like that. Why was they following that crack? What's so interesting about that crack? We all know that crack kills. Some people it ain't killed quick enough involved with crack. Oh, what else we got going on? Yeah, I just was just having a tour around this morning. I thought you guys might find it interesting. I hope it's not too choppy as I'm moving around. Yeah, not quite a weather video from me today. It's Imaginairium. And I love the ocean line ones. So I'll go look at some of the ones I've got marked. We'll go right to here. Where are we at? We're north of New Zealand. We're in the Kemetic Trench itself. We're off the coast of Fiji. And I thought something looked like a skeleton head buried in the sand. Isn't that cool? Right? That's all I can say. My imaginary says a great big old skeleton head buried in the sand out here of a giant something. If we could call something a giant. No, I don't want that. That's not what I'm wanting at all. You know, if that was a big head, it would be well, we don't want centimeters. That's ridiculous. Well, it's got to be a few meters long. Right? Just a few meters. That would take more than 10 seconds for Usain Bolt to run across. I think even Mo would take a few minutes there. My goodness, that's big. Sticking out of the sand. Hey, you know we're a mile long, ain't you? That's 3.85 miles from there to there. In case you was curious. You know, I see face-looking things in the sand. But it's geometric shapes. Right? Can we go there? My Imaginairium can see faces. Because, you know, things can look like things. Right? Clouds go by looking like elephants. There's a specific word for this. It's slipping my mind right now. But, you know, I'm calling this my Imaginairium. If you don't like my Imaginairium, use your own. That's what it's all about. And this is as we were headed toward Fiji a few moments ago. I believe. One of them islands over there. Now Fiji's here on my left. Yeah, I got something marked here. But I like going through what I got marked now for a minute. I don't know what I was seeing here. So see, that's why I just left it as an untitled mark. There's a lot of geometric lines in here that I found interesting off your coast, Fiji. And I was curious if you've had any legends. There's the Windows symbol again. That used to talk about any kind of civilizations that lived over here in further Polynesia or whatever word you used for it. There's a nexus of stuff that happened here. Must have been. They'll say there's some huge plates were twisted in and going, and all sorts of things was a heaving and a happening. A big bell end. It's a giant caterpillar smiling at me. Look, it's happy ocean time. My Imaginarium is enjoying that one. I'm gonna put down his Smiley. He's got his smiley face just for us. Yeah, that's why not. Why can't we make it Happy Day? There's Mr. Happy underneath the ocean. And volcanoes do sometimes have squared edge sides when they blow off a piece. Boom! But you know, I shouldn't see a lot of them. Skelly bobs, shapes and shadows, cone heads. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna lead you guys down such a rabbit hole at some point. Even Mr. Spur's gonna sit down and take notice. And I'll be going, did you roger that? Yeah, I went there. I'll talk about his dragon in the desert sometime. And DNA. First off, I'd like to ask him, how the hell did he have some DNA of a dragon to compare with? Okay, I've never heard such shit come out of somebody's mouth. But he thinks you should have your third shot like he did. Yeah, no shit. Isn't that cool looking? Anyways, my Imaginarium digresses. It's this big old 6 here, man. It's like you could come in here and chill. No, I'd love to know your legends of your offshores. With your geometric structures here under the ocean. Like an underwater city would look like in my mind. Welcome to our Earth. Welcome to our mother. And more of us, the Earth is underwater than is above water, right? And according to Al Gore and them, there's going to be less and less of it. But according to what I'm seeing here, and if they showed all this clearly, and we would see there was civilizations or anything underneath the ocean, then we would definitely be rethinking this global warming theory, because we couldn't have possibly done that. There's no how dare you to us involved in any of that. Why is this all blurry and that ain't? What's hiding here? That's very geometric. So my Imaginarium sees underwaterness is like, they forgot to blur that one out. Is that the mosque? They all come in, and say their call to prayers. Allah Akbar. We don't be disrespecting anybody that says come to the oneness. You know, why is that one all squared off at the edge? You know, there's too many of them that are square. From my imagination, that's to start leaving the state of imagination and going into the realm of the full tinfoil hat, right? I won't deny it. I'd wear that hat with pride, but they don't work. You know what's going on here. Somebody said, I'll just make a side map here. They're looking for something under the water if they're doing that. Line them up right near the square here. Go to the town square. We'll do our shopping. They'll have had shopping centers back then. There was always shopping centers. And holidays to make you get to them a certain day of the year when they're expecting their stock to be overloaded or when their bills are due. Always. And it seems to be those same dates seem to follow so many religions, man. Christmas has been celebrated under so many different names around that date. And Easter. And on and so on and so on. Excuse me, my hand is drifting around the map. No, I'm just looking. Was that the Rolling Stone rock? They look like a big old Rolling Stone lifts. Or something else. Oh my God. This interests me, actually, this wall. With these evenly spaced things. I'm sure you guys have a great explanations, and you'll be telling me all sorts of things about this that my imagination didn't understand yet. And I welcome that, but this is an Imaginarium, and if you try to put limits on my Imaginarium, I'll limit your ability to limit my Imaginarium by eliminating you from my chat line. Like this stop sign looking thing under the ocean here. I will put a stop to some things. But yeah, my Imaginarium does have limits. But man, I could go full retard like the movie. What the hell is that? That's oddness. Like a fetus laying under the water. A really big one. Imagination. Sheesh. It's another odd structured area. Hey, why would I have all that around it? Yeah, that's odd, that. That's just like a defense wall around a village. I'm sorry, that's what I would see if it was if you didn't know you was looking all the way under the ocean and that was miles across. And that is very far across, That's not a little bit of distance here. Let's say I go from the top of this berm here, if that's what my imagination is seeing. To that inside there, you're 8 miles across, man. That's not a little bit of distance. But it looks geometric. And we've seen walled cities bigger than that. Look how long the Great Wall of China is. Just don't say nothing can't be built that's that big. Because I'll point out that, yes, it can. Yes, it has. We have highways longer than that. So my Imaginarium is going, on this one. Is there any legends? What's going on? It's right at the base of that cliff. Where if this wasn't underwater at some point, that would be a very good defensible position. Actually, to have. You catch your water coming here. Why is there this long thing going into here? Is that a catwalk? On the catwalk. Is somebody going to be showing high fashions of inappropriate looking where people wearing garbage bags out dressed like a fart for Halloween? What's going on here? Geometric shapes, right? Smoothed over, covered with all this silt forever and ever. Imagination. Imagination. That's my Imaginarium this morning, just running away with me. But I do keep certain lines of sanity in my head, but I also know an anomaly when I see one. And there's a lot of anomalies here. Was this Naga? Was that a really big underwater snake? Or is there a great big old Plecostomus going along in a line just sucking up and hoovering the ocean floor here? Just a great big old catfish Plecostomus looking thing sucking you on up. And anybody that's ever seen it got sucked up, so we've never heard about it. Right? Or the security cameras were off at the time when it went by. Imagination. Pyramid complexes are very common around the around dry land, so I think to see them underwater would not surprise me. Why did they leave out that one spot? What was there a big sign that said like "Eat at Joe's" or something up there? Toilet up ahead. Last gas. 700 miles. In Australia, you got like a 600-kilometer stretch. If you ain't got no petrol by then, man, you're fucked. Some cinder cone, traditional looking like volcano and things. But, there's civilizations buried next to volcanoes and stuff. And what's this line going up the side of this one? It's an oddness. Or maybe it's a tourist attraction and they take the elevator to the top and there's a super view of some kind of... The Plecostomus that comes by. The giant Plecostomus. That's what they used to clean the top of the dome if it was water. There's a big Plecostomus out there, and that's how it stays clear. Imagination. But yeah, boats would do grids patterns for mapping. I could see that plainly. But I could see that there's a lot of whiting out and photoshopping going on down around here. Interesting, that area. And yes, that was for Fiji. Boy, you got a wet week coming for you guys. Batten down the hatches. And then outside the mountain, it got a bit more boring. It did. Somebody signed their work down here? Or do the ocean always put out an S and an L? And I wonder these things too, with these people working on maps. Do they just fuck around sometimes and put some things on there? Yeah, why not? If I worked there, I think I would hide a little something in the map, a little picture of myself grinning at you. Hey man, let's put an alien over here. That'll fuck with people, right? So call it your Imaginairium, man, and they won't lock you up as quickly. As quickly. See, I'm just having a heave around. I'll tell you a pretty cool place to see. I'm gonna take you a different place. I want to say, yeah, that's what my screen looks like when I'm doing live video. It's not the easiest thing to do. That's well, let's do like this then. You want to see a smiley face? The Palace of Versailles. All right, type some places in, people. I'll give me an idea, some places to look at. I'm bored under the ocean. All right, I'm gonna look at the Palace of Versailles. There's like a smiley face in the backyard, and it's kind of cool looking. Here it is. Now, isn't that cool? Hidey ho! The eyes of Moloch looking at you everywhere, no matter what direction. The Sun King's garden. Here comes the king. Sofa King. We're so fucking good. You see the scrolls? You see the eyes of Moloch? See it yet? The Pentagon. Somebody had to cut this line. There's the geometric shapes like you would see under the ocean. When you see stuff like that, you know the world has been worked. It's been engineered by man. Pyramidically. Yeah, Paris is exceedingly guiltily laid out. It is. Especially around the palace. Hell, that happened there. They didn't like what I just did. I'm gonna do it again. Fuck them, man. I'll show the guilt. I will. If they piss me off, I'm gonna show you Washington, D.C. I've done that one extensively. I haven't mapped it on this computer yet, but I could do that one. Masonic cities. Well, you got people called the Masons, right? The brick workers. So to think they built your world is not a surprise. Doesn't that look like the dagger here of the side of Versailles? But if they thought if they built a lake that looked like a cross, they'd go to heaven or something. And it would erase all the sins of their life. You could donate all the money in the world to the ever passing place, and one just don't give a shit. Just doesn't. You may have the basis for the next blockbuster. No, I'm already working on a doco about my Imaginairium, and it involves giants. The crabs. Isn't that cool? Very Egyptian looking, isn't it? He's an Egyptian King Tut. He fucked you all the while. Ooh. Shall we look at it? Yeah, let's go right to it. Let's go to DC. Yeah, there's more than one way I can zoom out of this map. Alright, let's do this. Come on. It's busted my balls. Sorry about that. It's nice to know where places are. And we'll take a And let it come in clear. I want to see if I'm right. I know I'm right. Is that Dulles Airport? No. Let's see if we can find some of the usual suspects then, like the memorials. And we'll get you right into the National Mall. We'll get you right to the honky house. What in the hell? Pal's White House. I don't know who the hell that guy is, but he has a White House and he lives the fuck over there. Isn't that interesting? Huh? That ain't gonna let me do it. Okay, let's do it like this. Fucking hell, it's not happy with me. It's hard having a keyboard for one country when you're using a computer from another. The keys are in different positions. Let's try this again as it goes back around the world and we go away from Pal's White House. Pal, you're famous. Pal does not just stand for personal ass liquor anymore. Right, see, I had it right. Now we'll go right on to the guild. There's the Lincoln Memorial there. The great big old obelisk showing your allegiance to the religion of which you belong. And supposedly the very tip of this is the first place in the United States of America to get sunlight each day. It's the chimney stack for the vent of all the hot air coming out of this fucking building. And this is the ultimate guild. This is your Capitol building. I have 3D turned off, so it goes a little smoother. But as you can see, straight away, and I'll just use this as a line tool. Straight away, you can see one eye, another eye, and the body of the owl, right? Moloch. And the tail down here. This whole city is laid out devilishly so. And you will have pentagrams and all sorts involving the White House itself and where it's located. Yeah. I'll show you that here. All right. You draw the one star here. Coming up these avenues, and you get your pentagram, which is only disrupted by this street being changed. Yeah. And supposedly this avenue here is an avenue that gets solstice light. 2 days a year, of course. Little. Here will be the Lincoln Memorial, which for some reason freeing the slaves wasn't enough to make his life matter enough to Black Lives Matter, and then they desecrated that particular monument. But this whole city's a monument to just a ignorance. And here's where they misspelled inalienable on the Jefferson Memorial. That's Jefferson Memorial. Those baseball fields follow Americans around. If you see a base somewhere in the world and it's got a baseball field on it, the odds are some Americans are visiting there. As Australians tend to have cricket in football. Though they play good baseball too. I can't take none away from on that. Dude. Some very good pitchers come out of there. It's one of the museums. Probably the Hirshhorn. There's a Guggenheim there as well. They have these fantastic museums. You can actually sit and look at famous art while you eat your lunch. Yeah, look at the the symbology here of the Washington Monument itself. Checkerboard Square, much in front. Yeah, that's where you buy tickets to do stuff. They also have tickets. If you want to ever visit the White House, you go here or here to get your daily ticket, and there's a certain quota they'll give out. And then once a day, they'll take a tour group through, and it's free. Uh huh. But you ain't getting nowhere near the White House no more. It's as good as gone for public access. Yeah, you got, oh, Trump put the first wall in front of it, and now it's got a real wall in front. Everybody's fucked. This is some kind of a memorial to them killing everybody somewhere. Yeah, I really don't know exactly what this one is. But we can look. Maybe this will tell me. Imagination. Yeah, it's a World War II memorial. Some memorial they kill people. And it looks kind of like a medal. I'm not disrespecting any soldiers who didn't realize they was going to be so used by the government for their love of their country. Whether you're Anzac or you got one of these in your name, at the end of the day, we need to remember war sucks. That's a Remember War Sucks memorial. The Iwo Jima one you can see on the hill is not too far from there. But this whole city was laid out masonically. I showed you the devilish marks. Which city's next? I'm just having a look around. Weird shit happens up in that hill under the cover of darkness. Yeah, well, we can use our Imaginariums and say that all sorts of things happen in the tunnels under this city. That all sorts of things happen inside here that don't represent the oneness of most of the people in the surrounding buildings. It represents the oneness of people that this is their religion, but yet they'll have crosses to say other things. Now, if you look here, I'll show you another thing. Now, the Great Big itself would be this is the top of the pyramid, right, with the eye, right up here. Okay, this is the eye and the top of the pyramid. And that's one side of the pyramid. There's the other, and there's its base. Okay, with the eye, right? And if you flip it around, you'll see a second Moloch down here. Tail, eye, eye. Look. Tail, body, eye, eye. And these lines have changed, and that'll be your memorial. So the sacrifice to Moloch is clearly marked with an obelisk, a pyramid, the houses of governance itself, and a memorial to the dead that paid dearly, 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 dearly for the wantings of the Molochs. Anyways, well, let me get this off. It's bothering me. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm getting a little bleary-eyed of the map. A little bleary-eyed. So on that note, I'm going to click out. Big love, people. I hope you enjoyed my Imaginarium tour today. If you can't be good at it. Big love, peace.